Welcome back to the Parenting Wisdom Podcast. Today, I want to talk about judgment in parenting. And this topic is very personal for me because I feel like I have struggled with knowing the balance between how much should I put my own judgments on my children and how much do I let them be who they are, express themselves. And a while back, I have adopted the unschooling way of homeschooling, which, if you guys are familiar with this or not, it's a way of homeschooling that is child led, and it focuses on facilitating the children's interest and helping them learn and grow through what interests them, basically. I also leaned into what is called radical unschooling. And the radical unschooling is an even more radical approach and a more extreme approach that emphasizes the fact that kids, if they are left to their own devices, will learn the societal norms, will learn the societal rules, and will become good people, basically. Will live a good life. So, example for that is that people who adopt the approach of radical unschooling won't set a bedtime for their children. This comes from a place of believing that if we just give our kids the freedom to choose, then eventually they will choose the right thing for themselves. Which means that kids can stay up late all night or stay up all night and sleep during the day, or they can sleep shorter hours. And we need to facilitate what's good, what the child wants, basically, what's the natural tendency of the child. So I haven't gone too far with this approach. I didn't adopt it entirely, but I did adopt it in a way of trying not to impose my beliefs and my judgments upon my children in a way. And I have to say that in recent years, I have definitely stepped away from that approach because I do think that that approach is not healthy for children. And I think that it may work for some children who naturally have an inclination to kind of follow rules or to be that naturally have a tendency to want to follow their parents or want to follow societal norms, and they may just naturally adhere to the norms of the society, and that'll be good. But I don't think that it's good for everybody. And talking about societal norms, there is an assumption that underlies that approach, and it's that the societal norms aren't good necessarily, right? Who says that the children need to sleep early and wake up at a specific time? Who says that you need to eat in certain times of the day? Who says that you need to eat healthy meals? So it comes from this assumption that the societal norms is something that we should be critical of, and we need to let our children be who they are, and not let the society interfere with their own growth, with their own with their ability to realize who they are from the inside. So I have to say that in the last few years, I grew to in the past few years, and definitely in the past year, I started really understanding why this approach doesn't only not work, but it's actually bad. I think it's not good. I think it's not good in a way that it doesn't guide our children to make the good choices. And this comes from a place that I believe that there are good choices to make. I believe that there is something that is right and something that is wrong. I believe that we should have some kind of moral compass that guides us towards the right way to live, the righteous way to live, the good life, right? How we can live a good life. And I think that adopting these assumptions that say that each person is a blank slate and each person should find their way, it's actually a very harmful approach to children. So that was my journey. And in the past year, in a much more intense way, I have started to adopt the approach that says that we need to guide our children much more strictly. Meaning that we don't need to be strict with our children, but we do want to have a much more structured way of understanding how we want to raise our children. Coming from a place of knowing that there is a good way and there is a bad way. So it's that deep assumption that there is some kind of moral compass that guides us as parents, and that moral compass is something that we want to integrate inside our parenting. The reason why we want to integrate our moral compass when we are raising our children is because, first of all, we live in a world that doesn't offer that for them. So we live in a world currently where everything goes, where the truth is in the eye of the beholder. There isn't one thing that people look at and say, this is the good, this is the beautiful. We have started to step away from hierarchy where we think that everything is equal, everybody is equal, and not only everybody is equal, but all ideas are equal. All ideas are worthwhile. And we should let everybody just follow their own passion and their own kind of inner compass. And the problem with that is that maybe adults can navigate in a world like that, but for children, it's very, very hard because they're trying to understand the world. And if we don't give them some kind of structure, some kind of rules, something to follow, something that they will know that this is good or this is bad, they can get lost in that very, very easily. And not only do they get lost, they don't understand who they are. They don't understand what their identity is. And what we are starting to see right now is this identity crisis where children, instead of identifying with their own group, identifying with their religion, and identifying with their family, identifying with their community, they started to identify with things that they basically invented, right? So they start to identify with a mental health disorder that they have, or they started to identify with some kind of gender that they picked for themselves, or non-gender that they picked for themselves. And they're trying to find something that will help them feel like they are part of something. And I know that many parents are afraid from those trends because they feel like their children are slipping away from them and they're going towards a culture that it's not theirs, they don't identify with. And they don't understand that they cannot connect with their children when their way of thinking is so different from their own. They cannot relate to the world, and it's really becoming a place where there is a rupture in the family because the children started to follow the social media trends much more than they follow their own family norms and their own family values. So that is one reason why we want to be able to integrate our worldview and our moral compass in our parenting. Another reason for it is because we have as people a natural tendency to do what is easy, to do what is pleasant for us right now, to do what is pleasurable for us right now. We have this inclination, as this is natural inclination, to do the wrong thing, right? Sometimes it's the wrong thing. So it even happened to me this morning. I woke up this morning and I decided that I want to go for a run. And I had these voices in my head that told me, no, you're not going to be able to get your work done if you're gonna go on a run. I'm too tired. I didn't sleep well. I don't feel like going on a run right now. And I chose to see those thoughts and then put them aside and just step on the treadmill and start running. And the reason that I did that is because I have this moral compass, right? My moral compass is something that is something like I want to be healthy. I want to be fit. And I see that as a moral good. I see that as something that will make me a better person. And we have these dilemmas in our day all the time. And for children, because they don't have the bigger picture in mind, it's very, very easy for them to slip into what is easy right now, what is pleasurable for me right now. Right? They don't understand why they have to do something that they don't want to, why they can't have something that they want right now, why they have to eat something that they don't feel like eating right now. Why do they have to go to sleep when they just want to be awake and maybe watch a movie or watch a show or be on their computer? They don't understand that. They cannot understand that. So we are in a way, we are their moral compass until they will be able to build their own moral compass. Hopefully, that the moral compass that they build is going to be based on the way that we guided them through the years. So, as parents, we want to be our kids' moral guides. And one of the mistakes that parents do nowadays, and I have fell into that mistake so many times myself, especially when I adopted the more of like the gentle parenting approach, and that mistake is uh, leaning too much on our empathy. So what is empathy? Empathy is our ability to feel what another person is feeling. And the empathy in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's a natural human it's 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 a natural human ability, and it's a good thing, right? We want to be able to feel what another person feels. But the problem with empathy is that it's not something that we can rely on to guide us towards the right decision to make, or guide us towards the right way to live, or guide us through the challenges that we have in our day-to-day life with our children. Because if we lean too much on empathy, we come to a place where we are so involved in our children's feelings, where we don't want them to feel hurt. We don't want them to feel frustrated or mad or sad. And instead of acknowledging those behaviors, but still going forward with the mission that we have at hand, sometimes we tend to try to shield them from those emotions from a place of empathy, right? It comes from a good place. It comes from a place that we don't want our children to feel those feelings, and we empathize with them. But the problem is that when we empathize too much with them, and we lose our compass, we lose our way, then we won't be able to be the guide for them forward. We won't be able to show them what is the right way to go. So this can be in situations that we have with our children since they are toddlers, and as they grow older. It can be, for an example, if I'm potty training my toddler, right? So maybe when I'm potty training my toddler, he will be scared of sitting on the toilet, right? And that happens quite a bit. So if I lean into empathy, I can decide to stop potty training right now because it's too scary for my son. And it distracts me from my end goal, which is to potty train my child. So it can happen when, let's say, my young child wants to have colorful gummies that all his friends are having, but I know that in those colorful gummies there are food colors that aren't good for him. So if I lean into empathy too much, I will feel bad for him and I will let him have those gummies, although it contradicts my value. And another example of that can be, when maybe if my older child has issues in school, maybe he's dealing with some friends, maybe he's dealing with issues in his peer group and he's not being accepted. Maybe he's not being invited to a party that everybody is having. So if I lean into my empathy in this case, I will I will dwell in those feelings of rejection with him and into those feelings of sadness, without helping him see the bigger picture, without helping him maybe look at this as a life lesson. You won't always be accepted by your peer group, so you now have a choice. How do you want to deal with this situation? Do you want to sit here and feel sad and sorry for yourself? Or maybe do you want to go out and watch a movie together, go out for dinner, play a game, do something that is more beneficial than dwell on your feelings right now. So when we find ourselves in that trap of empathy, it really impedes our ability to guide our children in a way that we feel is right, in to guide them after our morals and our values and things that we know are good and right. Um, we have to remember that we as parents have the bigger picture in mind. We have to remember that we have experience that they don't have. Um, and we want to be benevolent leaders for our children. In the past few decades, we have become so suspicious of the word authority. We have in mind, we tend to think of authority as something that is bad, as something that is is about control, and is something that is about exerting your power over somebody. But actually, being a benevolent authority figure is being someone that has a vision in mind and who wants to take his followers after him in order to achieve that goal. So, and this comes from a place of care and comes from a place of love and a place of empowerment. So as a leader, I have this big goal in mind. I have this vision, and I have a way that I'm going, and I want to take my children behind me in that way. And it comes from a place that I think that if I will give them these tools, if I share with them my life wisdom, if I show them what is right and what is wrong, if I lead them to a specific way of living, I believe, from my own experience, I believe that this is the right thing to do. This is the right way to live. So I have this vision in mind. I have this goal. I have an aim where I'm going to, and I want to lead my kids with me, and doesn't come from a place of control. It doesn't come from a place of trying to have power over them. It comes from a place of care. It comes from a place where I see their best interest in mind and I see the potential in them. So I wanna be able to lead them towards their potential as people. I want to lead us as a family towards our potential of how we can become, what kind of family we want to be. So as a benevolent leader, I have all those in mind. We want to be generous with our children. Um, we want to guide them, and we want to share with them our life experiences. And this is actually our responsibility as parents. I like to think of an example of traveling in a country that you don't know its language, you don't know the culture, you can't read the signs. You're completely clueless in this country. And think that if you hired a guide and the guide that you hired came and said that he also doesn't know the language. He doesn't know how to get along. He doesn't know how to order something in a restaurant. He doesn't know how to navigate the streets. He doesn't know the culture. You wouldn't want that kind of guide, right? You would want a guide that you can follow, a guide that has the knowledge it takes in order to guide you, right? He knows the language, he knows the culture, he knows how to get along in this specific country, and then you will feel safe. You will feel that you can just follow this person, right? And while you're following this person, you can look around, you can try to make sense of the things that you see, you can try to maybe go towards different path, and maybe he will tell you, no, this path is dangerous, you shouldn't go to this path because there are burglars here. Or if you go to a different path, he will tell you, yeah, try, go ahead, this path may be a little bit challenging, but you have what it takes to go through this path. It's okay, it's safe, you can go there. So you would want a guy that knows something about the place where you're going. So if we take this back to parenting, our children, what they want somebody who can lead the way. They want somebody that can show them what is the right way to live. Like, how do I navigate this craziness of a world? There's so much information, there are so many people, there are so many things to know, especially nowadays. Our children are bombarded with information. Our children are bombarded with influencers that are telling them this is right and this is right, and you should be like this, and you should do like this, you should behave like this, you should dress like that. And it's very, very confusing. So they need us to be that benevolent leader who knows the right way. What is the good way? One of the issues in our society is that we have adopted the notion that each individual is an atom, right? Each individual has to grow into their own self, has to self-realize their selves. But we forget that we are social creatures. We are we are meant to be part of a social structure. We are meant to be part of a family. We are meant to be part of a community. We are meant to be part of a bigger moral foundation, whether it's a religion or maybe a philosophical way of looking at life. All these connections, they give us a sense of security. They give us a sense of who we are. They give us a sense of identity. And most of all, they give us a sense of meaning. They give us a sense of who we are, what we are here for, what we represent, what are the right values to live by, why I agree or not or don't agree with what this and this person is doing. It gives a very deep sense of stability. And that is something that our children deeply, deeply need. They cannot navigate all this information by themselves. They need us to guide them. They need us to show them what is right and what is wrong. Our job as a parent is not to constantly give our children positive regard, but we want to help them and guide them to make the right choices. If you're not clear about what the right choices are, I really urge you to sit and think about that, journal about it, or maybe have a conversation with your spouse about what are the good choices for life. You can start about thinking of health choices. What kind of food do you think is right for your family to have? How many hours of sleep do you want your children to have? How long do you want your children to be on screens every day? What kind of relationships do you want your children to have? What kind of education do you think is the best education for your children? There is a very big value in understanding what all these values are for you and get clear on what your values are and what you think are good choices in life. And I think that we tend to undermine how much we actually know what good choices are. It's very known, in a way. What are good choices? I'll give a few examples for that. Um, well, let's take for example a person that is successful in life. What does it mean to be a successful person? So I'm not talking only about material success. I'm talking about a person who leads a successful life. What does it mean to lead a successful life? Well, to lead a successful life means that you are a healthy person. It means that you have good relationships in your life. It means that you have friends. It means that you're married, or you have a partner. You have a life partner. Um, it means that you have children. It means that you have a job. It means that you are satisfied with your life choices. It means that you are most of the time not depressed or anxious. You live a life of well-being. So there are a lot of things that are very clear, right? On what does it mean to lead a good life. It's not something that is so abstract, but we tend to think that if we in our society today, we tend to think that if we say that something is good, then we may hurt somebody that didn't choose this way, right? If I say that getting married is something good, so then maybe somebody who is not married can get offended, and that's okay. I understand, and I have empathy towards that, but I still think, and studies show, this is not only my opinion, there are studies that show that married people are happier and more content than unmarried people. I don't think that we should apologize for saying that. And I think that I would like for my children to get married. I would like them to have children because I think that gives a strong sense of stability in your life. It gives safety in your life. It gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of meaning. I think that becoming a parent is probably the most essential thing that you would do in your life. I think that becoming a parent is probably the best gift that you can give yourself. Um, and it gives you a very deep sense of meaning in your life. So I don't think that we should be afraid to say that in public. I don't think we should be afraid to say that to our children. I think that we should show them that we are happy, right? If that we are satisfied as parents, that we love them, and we will never regret having them. We want to be able to express our values and our opinions and our beliefs to our children, because that's what's going to guide them towards living a better life, right? If we avoid doing that, then we're not guiding them. We're not being there. We're not showing them the right way to live according to what we believe in. As an end note, I want to be clear that, you know, as much as we want to be our children's guides, right? And we want to have clarity on our goals and our values, and we want to have clarity on what is the right way to live, and what we believe is true, what we believe is right or wrong. We always have to be in awareness, right? We always have to be in a place where we are questioning our own ideas and our own thoughts, not to a place where we are confused about who we are and what we believe in, but always be aware, have the awareness that, oh, maybe I should ask questions about this belief. Maybe I should be aware, if this is not something that my child is accepting, maybe I can be more flexible. We don't want to be rigid. I'm not talking about being rigid. I'm talking about having a clear way, but also about being able to question yourself, and I'll always be self-aware. This is not about, use This is not about the old style of parenting where, the parent's word is the last word and that's it. Of course not. We're talking about always being able to communicate with our children and be reflective of our and be reflective towards ourselves and understand ourselves and know where we're coming from and always question, always ourselves trying to grow and trying to learn what is better, what is the better way to live. What are better choices that I can make as a parent. Always have that in mind. We want to know ourselves. We want to be self-aware. Another thing is that we want to always prioritize the connection with our children, because if we don't have good connection with our children, if we don't have a good relationship with our children, we won't be able to influence them. They won't want our guidance. They will much rather be with their peers and with their friends than be with us. So we want to always prioritize having a good connection and a good relationship with our children. And a good relationship can mean and a good relationship can be built in different ways for different relationship. But basically, it's about seeing the other person. It's about being present with the other person. It's about spending time with the other person. It's about acknowledging their needs and acknowledging your needs. It's about having open communication. There is a lot of things that we can do in order to strengthen the relationship with our children, and we should do them because if, first of all, just for the sake of the relationship, to have a good connection with our children, I think every parent wants to have a good relationship with their child. And on top of that, we want to be able to influence our children. We want our children to want to be influenced by us. We want our children to want to follow us because they believe that we have the best, because they believe that we have their best interests in mind, because they believe that we love them. And the last thing that I want to point out is that as parents, we always want to be in a place of growth and challenge ourselves. We don't want to live a stagnant life. We don't want to be in a place where we're not growing. So growth can look differently for each person. It can be, for one person, it can be learning to crochet. For another person, it can be learning to paint. For another person, it can be creating a podcast. For another person, it can be building a new business. For another person, it can be whatever it is, right? Taking upon yourself some kind of challenge and overcoming that challenge and showing your child what the process of growing and maturing looks like and modeling that for our children. And the more that we do that, the more our children will look up to us because they will see, oh, my parent understand what it means to do challenging things. My parent understand what it is to mature through overcoming challenges. And again, we want to show them that we have an end goal in mind. We have an idea of what success will look like for us when on this journey that we're taking. What success will look like when I will be able to grow a successful business, right? And what does it mean to grow a successful business, for example? Just show them that we have our own goals, we have our own ambitions, we have our own journeys, and we are walking on our journey and overcoming challenges and not doing what is easy, but doing what is hard, maybe, because we have that bigger picture in mind. So we want to model for them. So just to summarize this episode, I talked about the importance of being leaders for our children, being the benevolent leader, being a guide for our children in a world where there is no one moral compass. Everything goes. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and so many people can influence our children. There is so much information out there. There is so much styles of living out there, and it can be very, very confusing. We want our children to be influenced by us in the house. And that comes from a place of care and from a place that we know what's best for our children and we trust ourselves that we do. Um, we talked about being generous with our children, to guide them, to share with them our life experiences, and to offer them the leadership that we can give. We also talked about the fact that as much as we want to have a very clear goal and a vision for our kids and for our family, we always have to be self-aware and question ourselves and not be rigid in our views. We also want to stay connected with our children and put that relationship with our children in a high priority and connect with them as much as we can on a daily basis and model for them what it means to live a good life, what it means to make good choices, so they will see what we are doing and they would want to imitate that. So I hope this episode made sense to you. If they have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me at efrat@efratamira.com, or you can write on our Facebook group, The Parenting Wisdom. I would love to hear your thoughts. Bye for now.